Welcome to the Incredible Machines podcast, where we sit down with incredible people doing incredible things. In this episode, we speak with the incredible Dr. Angel Madlala, an entrepreneur, educator, and leader who knows and lives her purpose. We discuss why having a vision can be an incredible differentiator, how ingenuity and persistence opens doors, and why collaboration multiplies success. This conversation is a powerful reminder that we're never going to survive unless we get a little crazy, or in this case, think a little differently. Let's dive in with the incredible Dr. Angel Madlala. If you could go back to when you were 16, what would you tell yourself?
Well, so many things. I remember when I was 16, I think I was doing grade 11. And my uncle is late now. He worked for BHP Billiton. So he liked buying magazines, like the Bona magazine. And towards the end of the magazine, there's usually that section which talks about careers and, advices on what to do. So there was a woman there. I remember she wore a suit and she was standing next to a Jaguar S-Type. And I looked at her and I was like, I think I'm going to be that girl, And looking back now, when I'm 42, as a 16-year-old, I think I have become that woman. So I'm actually very proud. And I think, sometimes you look at a magazine and you don't think that it matters, but it just plants a seed. And somehow something in you tells you that this is your future or your destiny. And so I would say to my 16-year-old, actually, just don't worry. The things that you're interested in, the things that draw your attention are what you are supposed to do. So there's always something that leads you to that, It may seem far-fetched at some point, but at the end of the day, it becomes who you are. So you just follow the lead. Yeah.
That's amazing. It's like a vision board that you would have had earlier.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if you take us further back, can you give us the biography? Where were you born? Where were you raised?
So I am the firstborn of three for my mom and dad. I've got two brothers, so I'm the eldest one. I was born in Ngwelezane, that's in KwaZulu-Natal. And I was also born in Ngwelezane Hospital, which, funny enough, I also did my ComServe there as a young doctor. So that was, a turnaround moment, a very pivotal, because everybody was proud that, oh my God, you were born there and then you get to work there. So I grew up, my mom is a teacher and my dad was a driver for one of the companies. And I did my grade 12 in Mcabango High School. That's in just outside Esikhaweni. We call it Emandlangala. So that's where I'm from. And we lived in our family that was extended. So my grandmother, my uncles, and as well as our aunts were also just in the vicinity. So it was always a closely knit family. I think I had a good childhood. My mom was very strict, so you couldn't go to parties, to all these wild things. But I was also a very focused young woman. I was very driven. I was always position one at school. So for me, education was very important. And I think the most challenging thing for me was usually maths. And my mom was a maths and science teacher. So we'd wake up in the morning, we had a little board, and she would, help me with the concepts. And when I would go to school, I would already know what, my teacher would be, delivering in class. And I got to a point where I would teach them before the teacher even teaches us, And people used to say, oh, no, she's too forward, she's too loud. And now I see it in my life that it is actually true, like I say, with the 16-year-old dream. Who you are just comes through in the little things that you're interested in. So I've always liked teaching. I've always liked sharing knowledge with other people. And even as a young girl, I always had a study group. And our focus was to just make sure that we do so well that we can get, the courses that we wanted in varsity. Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. So it sounds like, and it's going to be echoed in the advert that you had. So loud, authentic, being yourself.
Yes.
If you are loud, then that's what you are, and you're proud of it.
Yeah.
In terms of there, you transitioned from high school to university. Was that immediate, or did you?
Yes, that was immediate. Actually, my dad got sick when I was in grade 12, so he passed away July 2001. So we had a little bit of a rocky, adjustment. I was doing my grade 12 at that time. But obviously, like I said, I was always, like ahead of the game, studying, pushing. And when I passed my grade 12, I hadn't applied because we thought where we were going to get the money to go to varsity and all of that. And I hadn't applied for the bursary. So my uncle took me to medical, well, at that time it was called Medunsa, Medical University of Southern Africa. So I think it was January. I hadn't applied. So we went there and then they looked at my matric results, which were good. And then they put me on a waiting list. And so we went back to Rustenburg at the time, waited a little bit, but there was no answer. So then I had to go back to KwaZulu-Natal. And I thought, okay, maybe I'm going to have, like a gap year for that year. And mid-Feb, Medunsa calls and says, you know what, you made it through. You can come through the following week for your registration and all that stuff like that. And at that point, I think my registration was like 4,000 rands. And that was a lot of money that time, And my mom didn't have it on hand because we had already given up. We had felt like, it's not going to happen this year, so it's fine. And then we decided, okay, my mom says she's going to go and make a loan at the bank because, she was a teacher, so she had a pay slip. You know how things go. So we go to the bank and this lady is talking to my mom. My mom is filling all her forms. And then she says to me, but why are you making a loan? And my mom was like, why? I need her to go next week. She has to, register. And the lady says to my mom, no, but you have money. And then my mom said, no, where? Like, where is the money from? And I'm telling you, it was such a surprising thing that on that day, I don't know, well, if it was on that day, but I think the money was already in. So my father's provident fund had paid out and my mom didn't even realize it. And that day we didn't have to make the loan. So the dad was like, no, there's money here. You can, do whatever you need to do. I remember we went out, we just like literally stood outside Absa Bank and we were just like, what has just happened, And also that was a pivotal moment because then I had to go. We got the suitcases, got the stuff sorted out, and then the following week I could go out and register at Medunsa. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
Alignment again, right?
Total serendipity. Yes. So then you had to travel alone. Had you done that before?
No. I didn't travel alone. My uncle and my mom took me for the first time. Yeah, so my uncle was already a doctor. He's a doctor as well. So we and my mom and I took a taxi and we met him in Pretoria. So he then took us to Medunsa. And then they got me settled in and everything.
What, settled in a res? Or?
Res, yes. I was in res. Medunsa is a little bit far off from town. So it's in Harankuwa. So it's almost like what do we call it? We call it a location, So you can, I don't think you can rent a place outside of the varsity. So we always had, to stay inside the varsity. So I had a res at the time. My mom had obviously had to pay for that. So the first and second year for me were a bit of a challenge, but my mom worked, so she would send me money during every month, and then my uncle would also help in with that. And second year, I applied for the KwaZulu-Natal bursary, so I got that. Then the relief came through. Yeah.
Oh, amazing! So you got the bursary in the season.
Yes,
so what was it? Do you recall that? Like now, so you've lived at home.
Yeah.
Your whole life.
Yeah.
And then you go to this very far away place. You get settled in, but then they just leave.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Yeah, that was bit of a huge adjustment, I would say. But like I told you, I'm a very open, person. So it was easy for me to make friends. I remember I made my first friend already. By the end of the week, I had a best friend, which we're still best friend even now, 20 years later. So at the time, we didn't have phones. So we used to go to something called a container, and there were phones that they'll put, and you give them money, you call home and stuff like that. I remember when I met my friend, which is Molalo, I had gone to make a phone call home, and I just came out of this container, and then this girl was standing. Then I remember that I saw her in class the other day. So I'm just greeting her, and then she's also receptive, and I'm like, oh no, I'm from KZN, she's from Venda. Obviously there was a language barrier there, so we'd had to speak English. And so I offered her, there was an ice cream car coming through, like they're always making that ringing sound. Then I told her, oh, let me go, let's get an ice cream cone. Got an ice cream cone. And she still tells the story even now. She always says, oh, you bought me with an ice cream cone, So from that day, we clicked and we've been friends ever since. So I think having them as my friends also helped me, focus. And they were all also like focused girls, very driven. And we used to have a study group with them. So we didn't have much of, wilding, if I can call it that. So we'd spend most of our time at the study hall, and we'd have discussion groups. We love running. And so it made life very easy to adjust in Medunza because I had people who were very receptive and acceptive of me. So, yeah.
It sounds like I heard you say even at school you had study groups.
Yes.
What is it about the study group that's so appealing to you?
Okay, I think I always say my life purpose is to help people. I'm just a natural helper. So I always feel like sharing what I know with other people makes things easier. And also with the study group, there's that mentality of if somebody knows something that you don't know, then they can share it. And if you find that they understand the concept better than you, so if they explain it to you, then you don't have to go home and study it. So it basically cuts the work that you have to do into half. So collaboration is my thing, working together with other people to just lighten the load and, move faster to where you need to get, So that's why I like study groups.
Yeah,
they're a cheat code.
They're a cheat code. That's incredible. I've never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
I understand what I heard you saying is that you led them, and
Yes.
I understood that when you have to explain something to somebody else,
Yes.
if you can't explain it, you don't understand
Absolutely. And you learn like the second time, because you have to first ask and understand the concept and then deliver the matter to somebody else. And if they get it, then it means you also getting it, and you learn and you understand it even better. And the same way also, they get to explain something to you that you don't really understand, and help you.
I hadn't thought of it from the other way around, where they're explaining it, but in language that probably connects a little bit better out of the textbook, and it's like in ways. And,
Yeah.
And then how long do you study for before you do ComServe?
ComServe, we do 6 years. So I did a 6-year course, Medunza. Started in 2002 and I finished 2007. Yeah. And then 2008, 2009, I do my internship. 2010, I was doing my ComServe. And at that point, I wanted, obviously, to specialize either in pediatrics. I think that my first choice was pediatrics. But in 2011, then I was pregnant with my daughter. I was a medical officer at the time. So with becoming a doctor, you do your 2 years of internship and your community service. Once you've done that, then you are qualified as a full, medical doctor. You can practice on your own. So you get your MP practice number. And we had a choice to either go into private practice, which you can become a GP at that point, or work in a hospital. So I stayed in a hospital and I was working in a pediatric department because at that point I had written my diploma in peds, obviously preparing to become a pediatrician. And then gave birth to my daughter. She was born with spina bifida, which was something that we didn't expect because the gynecologist didn't pick it up. So on the day of delivery, we went, whoa, what is this? And obviously it comes with a lot of challenges. There was a point where they said she wouldn't walk. She was going to have a VP shunt because she had a little bit of hydrocephalus. And so that shattered us, and it also changed my journey to what I was going to study because I felt pediatrics is very demanding. You have to wake up at night, you have to resuscitate kids, and you have to be fully present, and it needs you to be physically there. And radiology was something that I had thought about, but it was always in the back of my mind. So there was this lady who used to at varsity. I think she was a registrar. So a registrar is someone who's training to become a specialist in whatever field they have chosen. So this one was training to become a radiologist. And she would come in these neuro meetings. She would look so nice, like she would be coming dressed very well. And the neurosurgeons would be waiting for her. And then they'll put up a scan and she would just read through the scan and she would tell them what's going on. And I thought, I like what that lady does, and I think I want to do that. So when I was met with the challenge with my daughter and thinking that pediatrics is going to take a lot of my time, then that's how I decided, let me just apply for radiology instead, because it's something that was already, at the back of my mind. And I remember I got both posts. So I applied, did interviews for both radiology and pediatrics, and peds, they answered first. So they told me that I got the registrar post. I remember I wrote in my diary, I'm a person who really believes in writing down. You saw like how they always say, write the vision and it will be so, So I wrote down that, God, if I get radiology, I will not take pediatrics. And then pediatrics answers me first. Now I'm in a dilemma. I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? But something in me was like, just wait, just wait, don't answer, because they give you quite some time to send back your reply slip. So I waited, and probably a week or so later, radiology had answered and said I got the post, and I was like, well, it's a no-brainer. Let me go into radiology. So that's how I ended up in radiology.
And when was that? What year?
This was I started my radiology training in 2013.
So more training.
It's 2012.
So it was about 8. So it's like 8 years, 6 years of study. Then
so it's 6 years of study, 2 years of internship, and 1 year community service. Then makes you a full doctor.
And then radiology was 4?
And then radiology is 4 years.
4 years,
yes,
4 more years.
Yeah.
And you're earning an income at all while you're doing the radiology?
Yes, because you're already a doctor. Yeah. So internship, you are earning a salary. Okay. Community service, you are earning a salary. And then I was a medical officer for 2 years before I started radiology. So you are earning that. And with radiology, when you get the registrar post, because the posts are usually funded by the KZN Department of Health. So you are paid a salary, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not all doom and gloom.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
And then... So did you transition back to KZN, or you were...
No, I was in KZN. I was in Pretoria for undergrad training, and then I came back to KwaZulu-Natal for my community service and internship, and then I did my postgraduate in UKZN.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So was your internship and ComServe at the same hospital that you were born,
No.
or just the ComServe?
No, just the ComServe only.
Okay,
the internship was in Ladysmith Hospital.
Okay,
which was also a very nice place. It's a very rural community, but you quite learn a lot, and there were departments, so I got exposed to each and every discipline of medicine. I think that's when I decided I liked peds, because of how they were running their unit at the time. So they inspired me. I was like, once I do my ComServe, I'll probably become a pediatrician, just based on what I had exposed. Because with internship, you do rotations. So you still go to different disciplines of medicine, and then you get to decide what it is that you want to do. So other people would choose surgery, others would choose anesthesia and gynecology and so forth, yeah.
Okay, I heard you say, and it's come up before when we've spoken, but because of your practices, and Ladysmith, you said it was rural. I heard the word rural.
Yeah, yes.
So is that what one of the places that you got this passion for working in the
rural communities? I guess probably, but I think with rural communities, just for me, it's always been... they are just communities that get forgotten. And there is also a need for what we do for them, right? So with my radiology practices, the reason why I started with my radiology practice was because I'm a very outspoken again, an out there person. So I kind of felt like there has been, like, the tradition with radiology is you specialize, you become a radiologist, and then you look for a big firm to hire you. to work under them, right? But for me, I kind of felt like if they make so much money, hiring us, what if I became the big company, So, one of the reasons was just obviously purely for monetary gain. It's like, I'm going to make more money. Why must I make it for somebody else? So that's reason number one. And then number two, I felt like, not that I felt like it is so. Towns are oversaturated with radiologists. Everybody wants to be in the same town. Nobody wants to move out of Durban. And the other communities get forgotten. So I felt if I wanted to make an impact, it would be obviously to serve in underserved communities and give them what they need. And then I'll make the money that I'm looking for, So it's a win-win situation in a way. So that's how I ended up looking for communities. And like I say, I come from rural areas. I come from Zululand. So I started my first practice in Eshowe in Zululand. And even to date, there's nobody there. And the service that we give is very much important. Patients get diagnosed early. If we pick up something, we also advise the general practitioners what is the next thing to do so the patients can get the right treatment. Yeah. So
amazing.
That's how I started.
So in your family, are you the first doctor that you know?
No, I'm not. My uncle, like I told you, is a doctor already. Yes. So he actually inspired me to become a doctor. Because I used to come and visit us on weekends, and I just loved the life that he lived, and I felt if it's something that I would also want to have in my life. So, and with the results, it was also easy with me being able to, master maths and science and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's how
amazing.
I ended up.
When we met at the opening of the building. We're actually in for a client of ours, the DO gym.
Yes.
And one of the things that struck me from that meeting is you had a testimonial for DO Gym Africa, and you seem to be so clear on your purpose, and it was as if you were reading it off. It didn't sound like you're reading, but it was as if you were reading it from a website that you had already, and it was. I think it was making
radiology accessible to the people,
one day at a time.
Yes, one day at a time. Yes.
And specifically, like I love what you said now about going to rural. Going out there and getting it, because that's not easy. Huh?
No, it's not at all. It's very challenging because I think for me to actually even start the business, you obviously need contacts. How you do buy the machine, how do you set up the practice? Then as you do, what I realize is you find out. So whenever you do something, the next step appears. And then you do something. So with radiology, how I started was, I'm usually a very observant person. So I worked in the radiology department. So I would involve myself in the runnings of the department just so that I know who's who in the zoo, who does what, And I got to make relationships with the guys who used to work for IT department and stuff like that. So I inquired with them, who sells machines? Who do you know who would, offer me such a service? And then they would obviously give me the numbers, and then I'll give them a call. So I remember my first machine I had bought on a lease to own. I had to pay a deposit for it, and then I paid it over 3 years for them to own me. And then that's when I then met DRGM, like we met on that day. Then I met DRGM because I was looking for better equipment. The one that we had was a bit, iffy-ish. I wasn't happy with the image quality. So I asked around, and, people told me, oh, no, try these guys. Their machine is good, and, the image quality is excellent. So, that's how I ended up with your client.
Yes. No, amazing. And it's... again, serendipitous, because we had the testimonial that you did, and then out of that, we saw the impact that the post with you featuring in had. Okay. So you seem to have a large group of supporters gathered around you, and looking as you a mentor, I imagine. What else do you do? Do you lecture at all, or
no? I don't lecture, but I'm obviously in a government hospital. So in a government hospital, what we do is we are supposed to teach the young generation. So they are registrars in my department and medical officers. So you find that the people would usually come to a department like radiology are people who are looking to become radiologists, right? So I worked in Albert Luthuli for almost 7 years. And at that point, we obviously are the major center for training for young radiologists. So give tutorials, we give, case-based teaching while we are reviewing scans. So that's where most of the young people will look up to me because I teach them. I, share tips and tricks, how to study and, how I made it as well. Because if you've walked the journey, then it's always a responsibility for you to pull other people up. So I do that just naturally. Like it goes back again, I'm a helper. I want to better whatever environment I'm in. I just want to add value. And if teaching is adding value, then I'll teach. If showing you a case will add value, I'll show you a case. If telling you this is why I didn't, go full-time private with a big firm, I'll tell you that. And then people make decisions from whatever input I have, and they seem to think that it helps them with their journeys as well.
Yeah, they were very supportive in the message.
Yes,
like we said, it was a standout in the post that we did. We saw the feedback was amazing and people just cheering for you.
Nice.
So that's, again, why we invited you, one of the reasons why we invited you on as an incredible machine, because you can see that from your audience, the people cheering. And as well as that purpose statement, I absolutely loved it, making it accessible.
Yeah, because the thing is, I think that comes from, my goal was to have 10 practices. It's an audacious goal, but like we say, dream bigger, and crazier. So I had wanted to have 10 of these practices. And my practice is what we do is we do mammography, bone densitometries, X-rays, and ultrasounds. So those form the backbone of outpatient radiology services, right? It doesn't need to be a hospital-based business. It could just be a standalone and serve quite a community. So where I am in Eshowe, what I do there is I service all the GPs. So I decided to be standalone. So I'm like the little light in the middle of a room, and everybody gets to, like a guidepost or a lighthouse. So then everybody gets to send their patients to me. I image their patients, and then I tell them this is what's going on, and then the patient gets, referred to wherever they need to go. So I think, we are on number 4 now. So we probably will get there at some point.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
So 4 of 10. And so just before we get there, because I want to hear about the other practices, I remember we spoke before this recording on that you did have a mentor that sort of galvanized this thinking.
Oh, yes, that gave me the idea.
Yes.
Oh, that's a funny story. So there's something called locums in medicine, right? And locums are basically things that you do to make extra money from outside of your salary. It's like a side hustle or like a little entrepreneurial thing. So I used to go to Newcastle to do a locum for this doctor, and he's a radiologist, and he had quite a big practice, and we used to see so many patients, right? And he obviously paid us good money. So there was a reason why I went there. It's actually, I used that money that I made from his practice to buy my first machine. And I used to see this guy, he would come in, ask me, do you want some coffee? And then he would buy us coffee and sit next to you, and he doesn't report. And I'm thinking, dude, why are you not reporting, And he's like, no, I got all of you here to work. And because for me, I no longer do this. He, whatever does, he likes. And then whatever he doesn't want to do, he doesn't do. So then I said there, I thought, if he can have a practice, then he can hire so many radiologists at the same time. And to me, that translated to he's already killing it. He doesn't need to be part of the equation. So for me, it also attracted me in the sense that I like entrepreneurship because obviously it will give opportunities to other people. I mean, at the moment, I'm an employer. There are families that I feed through my radiographers, through my admin ladies, which is also, contributing to the work issue that we have in South Africa. I mean, there are no jobs and stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons. And number two, I felt like if I can then start it, then I could probably one day be like him. And I'm actually still looking forward to owning a hospital-based radiology department.
Okay, is that the...
okay. It was not a goal, but it's a goal now.
It's one of the goals.
Yes.
Is that one of the 10?
Yes. Probably it will be one of the 10. Yeah.
What's that thing? You've made me think about it a few times, but that if I might get this wrong in the wrong order, but I think it still makes sense. You need to shoot for the moon. If you miss, you might hit the stars.
You might hit the stars. Absolutely.
Okay, amazing. Yeah. So you went out, you used the money there, bought your first machine and started your practice. Now you have 4.
Yes.
So where are those based?
So one is based in KwaZulu-Natal. It's also very far, almost towards Tlhotloe. And then there's Eshowe, there's Manzimtoti, and then I've just opened one in Kloof. But in Kloof, we're only doing just mammography at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to build up to more.
And so it's interesting because I've heard you say the entrepreneurship a few times.
Yeah.
And I think there's so the traits that we talk about when we talk about entrepreneurs here on the show, but one of them is disagreeability. Where you say like, oh, you don't agree with just going and working for a big corporate and make, like you ask questions like, why must they make all the money? I can make the money.
Yes.
And then the other one is jumping off the cliff and building the plan on the way down.
Yeah.
So I love this definition. I think it's from Howard Stevenson, but it's entrepreneurship is the pursuit of opportunity without resources currently controlled.
Absolutely.
So that's very much, you fit into that.
Yes,
that's perfect.
True. You literally bootstrap.
So but you were doing this, your mom was doing this when before you even knew you had the resources to send you to university.
Yeah.
You have to go to the bank and then the bank said, well, you have it.
Yeah. You know, like I think it's a life thing. You have to set the intention because you can't obviously hit a goal that you don't have. You know, sometimes you don't have anything with you, but what you do is just that hope that, you know what, if I want it, then probably it might be, possible. So for my practice, it was, I'm going to bootstrap. Literally, everything I've done until today has been through my salary. You know, I've been a good steward of my salary from my government job. And I always felt like it was a seed for me to grow, and then it will give me more, right? It also helps to have a husband and a partner who is reliable and stuff. So then he obviously takes care of the other things that you need to take care of while you are pouring everything back into the business. Yeah. So, that's how I ended up meeting your client, DRGM. It's because they also had funding, like an asset finance company that financed my second machine, which was the DRGM machine. That also helped me because I didn't know I had access to that. I mean, I always thought it's going to be a lease to pay. So I'll pay forward maybe like 200,000 rands and then paid every month. But with that asset finance, it was easy because they paid forward, then you just pay the loan over a certain period of time, So that made it also accessible. And with the bigger companies and a bigger firm, I'm just now in a state where I'm just looking for bigger funding, So for me, the goal is to get funding or get some financial backing so that the idea and the dream can happen a lot faster because it's a lot slower if you are doing it on your own.
Yeah, there's a few things I want to get the order right on this,
Yes.
but I think it's something you said. It sounds like you've made throughout at least the recent history, you've made ways so that you can work on the business and not in the business. That's what the mentor showed you. Like he wasn't working in the business, he was working on it the whole time. So that's another thing. And then just making sure that the funding is accessible. I've noticed that you you've embraced the entrepreneurship, and that now we follow you on all your socials now after that first campaign, and you're very much building a personal brand in that space. So you've got that in order, and I imagine that will help you build the private brand.
Absolutely. I think with the way you are and the way you show up on the way you add value in certain spaces, then that also opens doors for you. Like you said, with the young people who are supporting me, if I open a radiology firm, most people would want to work for me Because, I mean, they know what type of a person I am. They know that I'm helpful. They know that I want the best for them, you know. So it's the personal brand comes in the sense that it helps you kind of, you know, push forward in whatever endeavors that you want to do in the future. I mean, reliability is one of the things that's very important. So if like right now, I do teleradiology, so I do collaborate with the other big companies, and obviously I've signed an NDA with them, so I can't say their names, but I have quite a vast network of radiology and radiology practices that I collaborate with, that I work with, because I'm generally a nice person. I'm kind, I'm very hardworking, I'm responsible, and people like that. So I think my personal brand has opened doors for me in that sense.
Yeah, and I think it's just authentic. From what I've seen and what I've heard now, is it's not like you're trying to be anything that you're not.
No,
so you've always been this way. You've always formed the study groups, and then now you're forming companies to employ people, and then they're bigger study groups, but everyone's getting paid to survive capitalism through that.
Absolutely.
But it is a beautiful thing. There was another point there that I might lose now, but let's just go. The latest one you've just opened on the South Coast.
No, that's in Kloof.
Kloof is the latest. Then it was the South Coast before. So you spread across the country, which is an amazing thing.
Yeah. I'm still only in KZN. I'm looking forward to going to other provinces.
Okay.
So if an opportunity comes up, yes, I'll definitely look into that. But most of them are in KZN.
Just before we go into the case study that we've got that you've picked, what's the most difficult thing about going out into the rural community and bringing that infrastructure? Like I can imagine there must be so many, like, just top of mind things, like
the
getting the right. What are the challenges, but like that people wouldn't know about? Like,
first of all, internet. Oh my God, for us to get connectivity in that area, it was such a mission. We had to get a private company to come and install and get us, fiber. So I think just setting up the infrastructure, for you to set up a radiology room, you obviously need drawings, you need someone to come, like a technician, who obviously comes from a company that sells the machine. They have to assess the room, see that it meets the radiation or SAPRA standards, and then you have to do or make the room to the correct specification for SAPRA to even give you a license to actually install the X-ray equipment there, right? So first of all, the first challenge is sourcing out the machine. So you need funding, you need money to buy the machine. That's one. Number two, where you're going to put the machine, the location is also very important with a business, because if you're located in a place where there's not a lot of foot traffic or support, then the business may not really do well. So it needs to be accessible to the patients. And like you said, for me, it's poor communities or rural communities, not really poor, I would say, people who are not well off. So they usually use public transport. So that's also a factor that you have to look into. So if you're finding a practice, it must be located in a place where it's easily accessible through transport. Then setting up the room to become, acceptable to SAPRA standard before you get the license. And also the process of licensing, you have to apply, they send it back, they tell you this is not right, and then you fix that and you send it back again. So you get your SAPRA license. Once that's sorted out, then you can install the machine. And advertising as well, I think that's my weakest point, is advertising. But with medical practices, the nice thing is people usually need the service, right? And you don't really have to jump hula hoops and stand outside with, it's like a service that's needed. So if your business solves a problem that people really suffer with, they will come naturally. So I think for me that has been that. And then with internet in rural communities, it's a bit of a touchy situation, but obviously you get in the right people in place to come and install the stuff, and then you have to have support, technical support. If the machine breaks down, you have to have a technician called out, come in, sort it out. So that's one of the challenges, and these companies don't come before you pay, so that's also a thing that was a bit of a challenge when I started, but now I've built relationships, and I think I have got a good network of support. Whenever there's an issue, I know who to call for what and when.
It sounds like network has been important. Collaboration was a word you used,
yes.
and specifically in your purpose statement there was accessible.
Yes.
So the you bring in the equipment to make it accessible, and then it has to be accessible.
Yes.
Like it has to be a place where people can actually
get
go.
To it. Yes, absolutely.
So it has to make business sense. There's this adherence that I'm hearing too, is like you repeat the things that you that worked before. So even if it's subconsciously, but it seems like, so we work with this acceptance. So it's awareness, acceptance, action, and adherence. So the 4 steps that we often talk about here on the show. But the adherence is doing the thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So study groups work and collaboration works.
Yes.
So I'm going to do that over and over again, just at different levels.
Yeah.
Being a woman founder, how's that been?
Ooh, that's a challenge. There is actually, maybe in other provinces, but in KwaZulu-Natal, I don't know anybody who has done what I do. Most of the people are hospital-based, like I told you. So most of the big firms are in hospital, either Alive or Netcare or Busamed. So there, it's kind of very easy because your clientele are the patients that are inside the hospital already or admitted by the other practitioners. So that is like a clear forward path. But with outpatient radiology, it's a bit of a challenge in a sense that you have to find the perfect location, like I told you. I mean, I've had to deinstall machines in other places where it's just dead or it doesn't make sense, Or I think one of the other mistakes that I had made was installing a machine in a practice of a certain doctor, So for example, let's say you have a practice and you say, Angel, come through, install a machine because I need your services. What happens is the other doctors around don't send their patients to my X-ray department because they think the other doctor is going to steal them.
Okay.
So that you're stuck with this doctor who now is the only provider for the practice, which is really not a good, model for a business. So through obviously trial and error, I've realized that installing a machine for just that person doesn't really work for me as a business, because then it means I'm solely dependent on one individual from sending me, and if they don't send me, then we are not, making money. So that's one of the challenges. And another challenge is, like I said, finding the perfect location. It's always trial and error. You may install a machine and you think it's going to pick up, and nothing happens. And then you have to now deinstall, go through all the process again, apply for SAPRAF to remove the machine to another location. And so it's been very tough. I don't have a partner in my company except for my husband. So it's a lonely road in a sense that there's nobody to talk to about it. And sometimes people don't understand because I'm the only radiology person. So everybody's looking up to you to actually come up with the solutions. So most of the learning has been trial and error. And like I said to you, when you do something, you realize, this doesn't work, then you withdraw. And you see, this works, so you apply it the next time. And if it's replicable and it's easy, then it forms like a system that you already operate on, So like I always say, for me, it's very easy to set up a radiology practice now. Outpatient radiology service, of course. So I could do it with my eyes closed now because I've got the steps in place. I know what I need to do. And so those are the challenges. It's just the support, having somebody to talk to, and also somebody to call and understand what you're going through. But you find a community, you talk to your friends, and then you also ask people who have been ahead of you. I mean, there are people that are always happy to share their challenges and assist you,
Okay, something that I heard you say was that you're the first or you're the only.
Yeah.
So, What came
Female.
over you? Yeah, only female. So
What came over me is...
what came over you?
You said a word, agreeable and disagreeable.
Okay.
I can't be bossed around. So for me, it was just that. Like, I kind of felt like I didn't want people to call shots about where I have to be, at what time I need to be there. And I have young kids that need me, So the flexibility was also very important, So what drove me to push the private practice thing was also just to get freedom to be able to be my own boss and, be able to control my time.
Perfect. I think that's a lovely segue into the ad and we'll play that next because we love this piece, Crazier, from NARC.
Yeah.
If we show emotion, we're called dramatic. If we want to play against men, we're nuts. And if we dream of equal opportunity, delusional. When we stand for something, we're unhinged.
It's super, he's gonna need to calm down.
When we're too good, there's something wrong with us. And if we get angry, we're hysterical, irrational, or just being crazy. But a woman running a marathon was crazy.
Officials tried to pull her off the course.
A woman boxing was crazy. A woman dunking? Crazy. Coaching an NBA team? Crazy. A woman competing in a hijab, changing her sport, landing a double cork 1080, or winning 23 Grand Slams, having a baby, and then coming back for more? Crazy, 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 and crazy. So if they want to call you crazy, fine. Show them what crazy can do.
Oh, I love it. I get
goosebumps.
Hairs
like
in
a
the back
little
of my
hashtag.
neck.
Yeah.
Just amazing. And we've had the Dream Crazy campaign. This, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the sequel to And It's Dream Crazier. So what do you love about this?
Well, what I love about this is just I told you, I think earlier, that I always thought I'll do just outpatient radiology services. And lately, I've just got that inkling and that feeling that, you know what, I actually do want a hospital-based radiology department. And for me, that's a crazy dream. It's like, oh my God, how am I gonna, reach that? And I'm sure it costs quite a lot of money to set that up. But it's a dream that I'm willing to basically go after, chase. It may sound crazy, but like you said, I'll aim high. If I fall, then I'll get to the stars.
You're always learning, and you're always learning. That's the thing, as I said about that. So we look at these type of ads or campaigns, and we've got 3 buckets that we break. We've got 6 principles, and we break them into 3 buckets. The buckets are IQ, EQ, and then AQ. AQ is the adaptive quotient, so how adaptive you are to change. So you'll know that one well. But this ad, it's definitely emotional. I can see nodding over there, so he's aligned. That emotional quotient, emotional quotients is you get that feeling out of it, and you can see those emotions in the ad. In the ad, and that's a absolute beautiful thing. We can't tell whether there's any always-on optimization, but in digital marketing, we were able to do always-on optimization where we can change stuff on the fly. So I imagine if you're running this campaign, as soon as there was another victory of a woman, you could just post that and repost it and that sort of stuff. Crazy beats strong is one of the principles. It's to think differently. And NARC had already probably pushed it with Dream Crazy, and then this is just a Dream Crazier, and it's like taking. It's also something. It's quite absurd to think now at there was a stage in the world where women weren't allowed to run a marathon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And who was the first one? And they try to pull her off.
Yeah, was it that? I think that was Costa, is it?
And then they did show Costa in this.
Yeah.
And even when you're too good, there's something wrong with you now.
Yeah, no, it's true. I think it's just also how we have been taught to just quietly accept what is going on. It comes, for me, the advert also talks about just breaking the barriers that you have been fed, questioning, why must I look for a job when I am the job? For me, with the practice, it makes sense. It's like excellence does not have to necessarily be, a male in a certain, demographic doing this. It could be a woman as well. We could pioneer such things. And I mean, everything was started by somebody. So if you are inquisitive and if you are a person who likes, experimenting new ways and new, pathways of doing things, then it's always encouraged for you to just, go ahead and do what you need to do. I think one of my strongest qualities I've done, I don't know if you know Clifton strength tests. So you ask, they ask you like a questionnaire, then you answer and it tells you your top 10 qualities, right? And one of them is being futuristic. I'm also a very action-oriented person. I'm a person who likes encouraging people, like I said. So it's got like a positive alignment with those things. So for me, action is very important. So the Nike advert comes in perfectly with just do it, Don't overthink the things that you need to do. Obviously, get the information, get the data, do what you need to do and execute. Because if you don't execute, then you fail. You realize, okay, this doesn't work. And if it works out, then, okay, cool. It works, you add it into your toolbox, you move forward, and then you do it again and you start realizing that by actually getting out there and doing things that you said you're going to do, keeping the promises you made to yourself is what, propels you forward, because without doing it, unfortunately, you're never going to know if it's going to work or not.
That's absolutely lovely. I love this. So I'm going to segue. I'm going to get to there where you ended, but there was something that you said remind me of. Have you ever read the book Lean In? Share.
I haven't. Funny enough, I haven't. But yes, I know about the book.
Sheryl Sandberg, so ex-CEO of Facebook and Google and all that. She's incredible. And I recommend it to everybody, not just females, male, everybody, because it's such, I mean, I love it's just the title.
Okay.
It's just like leaning
into what
just,
you...
And males can do that too. You can lean in and go like, well, who should be at the table right now?
Yes.
And why was that my idea? Was that somebody else? Was that Janet's that spoke first? Actually, and just being, it's really about being present. Okay. But it's into absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And then you said something about miss. If you don't execute, you'll never know if you miss. Yeah. So this actually reminded me of this, and I think it's a Jordan Peterson quote, but it's he dissects the language, and it's biblical, but like he dissects what sin actually means. Okay. And sin actually comes from the term, an archery term, and it means to miss the mark. Okay. So if you don't, you get it wrong. So and you can get it wrong by not doing it. That's the point.
That's true.
If you don't shoot the arrow, you miss the mark.
Absolutely.
So you've got to shoot it, because then you see if you failed, and then you're learning off it. It's absolutely So I love that. You had a quote that was I loved, Oscar Wilde. What was that quote?
The quote, it says, "We are all in a gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars." And I love that quote because it just tells you that no matter, oh God, I'm going to cry. I don't want to cry. It just tells you no matter where you come from, I mean, it's possible to dream bigger and crazier. And those things will, probably surprise you and come true. And I mean, some of the things that I have done, I feel like, oh my God, I can't believe I did it, And it seems crazy when you're just conceptualizing it and putting it together. But when it comes alive, you're like, yes, I did it, And it also just gives you that reassurance that your thoughts and your dreams are not necessarily, out of reach. But if you take the necessary steps, the necessary actions, do the necessary research, meet the right people, network correctly, it will happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I absolutely love it. It's like, dream crazier.
Yeah.
What a great thing
it's
for
very
a great
for anyone. Yeah.
And just and I was just thinking before you came on, you reminded me that you weren't sure why you were invited to the show.
Yeah.
As if you're not an incredible machine.
Yeah. No, well, I guess it's also like how you see yourself. Like people will see you differently from how you see yourself. Not that I don't think I'm great. I know that I am in my little corner. So my philosophy is just shine the light where you are. Do what you need to do where you are. Add value where you are. It's not always about recognition and, getting the accolades and people knowing you. But you can make an impact without anybody knowing you, So I think that's what I was alluding to. It's like, oh, you see me. I didn't think you see me, something like that. But like you say, it came from that little statement that I said, and you're like, oh, there's something there. I need to, explore it further and see what is she about, So you could be going about your day, doing what you normally do, and don't see it as a great thing, but somebody else can see greatness in it.
Yeah, I think I have 2 more questions for you. Yeah, I just want to get this. It's like, do you think you celebrate enough? Do you celebrate this? Because I think you're moving, from what I can tell, you're moving so fast. Do you celebrate it? And you said something about we weren't party people. We were very serious. You've always been. Do you celebrate enough? It's a common of entrepreneurs that they don't.
Yeah, it's always like the next thing. No, I would say no. That's actually something funny because my therapist, I see someone for my, other things. And she spoke about that. She says, Angel, you're always just pushing and pushing and pushing, You don't pause and say, okay, now I'm at the top of the mountain. Let me enjoy the view, So I think it's just that driven nature, that ambitious thing that's in me that says, okay, Kai, fine, you've done it now. Next, move. What's the next thing? What's the next, thing on the horizon? So I don't really get to celebrate it that much. And sometimes you always think you're bragging. So I don't want to brag, I always try to, they say, stay humble. But I guess I need to learn that for my part, to just say, you're doing well. It's okay. Yeah. Be proud of it. Yeah.
I mean, there's a hashtag I use every now and again because I try to do it. It's difficult to do, but humble brag.
Yeah.
But
but how do you humble brag?
No, just post it as a celebration. And it's interesting. I did it recently, and it was so cool to see people cheering. Okay. And I think if you give people the opportunity, they will cheer for you. Yeah. And you'll see the ones do, and then but the feedback, like it sounds like you're very open. Yeah. You've said that word a few times too. And you're very open to the feedback. And even just to mention
agreeable.
Agreeable in that way. It's good. It's a part of entrepreneurship that you have is creativity, and to be extremely creative, you need a level of openness that's extraordinary. Seeing us and mentioning that you see somebody, that means you taking on feedback, and you just said it now. You realize that's you're
very,
not done.
Yes, it's very important, but also there are some points where you kind of have reached the ceiling. And with obviously your thought processes and your planning, and you feel like I just need someone to kind of, push me to the, the next level. And, therapists, people that we believe can help us with those things are just literally a conduit to something that you already know is there, but I can't do it myself. So I'm like, push me. I know this is what I'm planning to do. This is what I need to do. Help me work through it. So they become, like how we say prophets. Prophets, people will go to a prophet. I'm Zulu, so there's Sangomas, there's Inyangas. People would go to somebody and say, this is what I need. Help me with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They say that the breakthrough is already there, but you believing that John, the prophet, will help me, makes it possible for you to kind of, transition to the next level, right? So they serve as just a conduit for me to meet my other self on the other side. Yeah. So
there's a few things. Yeah. So I think you're setting the target immediately, and so then you can hit the mark. Who are your incredible machines?
Oh, the people that I look up to will be my mom, solely because of what she has had to overcome to get us where we are. We were actually in Northwest for a little breakaway of the week, and we were talking about that. And she's like, "Oh, thank you for taking me," because I usually try and take them along with me when we go on holiday, solely because they are old and I want my kids to, get used to them, spend time with them. But obviously in a different environment. We used to go to our grandmother's house when it's holidays, but they never got to go on holiday, right? So I use that as a way to take them out on holiday, but also with my kids so that they can spend time. It's still spending time with your grandmother, but just in a nicer and a better, location, So she was saying, "Oh, thank you for taking me. I feel like, through your success, I got to enjoy, the nice things in life, So I think, she's probably the girl that I look up to. Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to close with us?
Yeah, I would just like to say to anybody who watches this that you can just make up your mind, set the intention, and follow through with necessary action, and your dream may just come true.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
The incredible Dr. Angel Madlala.